Whoa! The moment I spotted a shadowy figure in the pitch-black warehouse, I let out a loud shout and stumbled backward. My foot caught on a shelf, and with a loud crash, I landed on my backside. Is it a ghost? No way, come on. With trembling hands, I pointed my flashlight toward the figure, only to find a young woman, not a ghost. Hey, are you all right? What are you doing in a place like this? She looked up at me, eyes brimming with tears, and replied, They told me to work here because I'm on the night shift. Her words shocked me, but even more surprising was running into another person in this situation. Actually, today was my first day back at headquarters. After 12 years, I'd finally returned, and I was walking around the office late at night to get a feel for the place. I've always been confident in my work abilities, but dark, deserted places like this really aren't my thing. I had been jumpy just walking down the hallways, so spotting a shadow like that startled me more than I'd expected. Pull yourself together. You're not a kid anymore. You're a capable employee, one of the best in the company. I took a quiet breath, trying to calm myself down. My name is Andrew. At 38, I had just returned to the headquarters of Everyday Fresh, a major nationwide supermarket chain. 12 years ago, I was transferred to the overseas division, where I led new store openings in the U.S. Thanks to my success there, I'd been called back to headquarters. Hey, can you tell me a little more about what's going on? Yes, my name is Laura. I'm 18. I joined as a part-time worker, but maybe because I'm new, they keep putting me on the night shifts in this creepy part of the building. As I listened to Laura, I started recalling how headquarters had felt earlier. Something had felt off since my return. Compared to 12 years ago, the atmosphere here felt darker and more tense. Could this be the reason? Treating young part-timers like this. I spoke gently to Laura. All right, let's get out of here for now. Staying in a place this dark. Well, you might start feeling sick. I led Laura out of the warehouse. As we stepped into the hallway, I could see a faint light up ahead. We started walking toward it, but the surrounding darkness still made me tense. There are no ghosts. No ghosts. No ghosts. I kept repeating that to myself as I walked. Then, suddenly, a voice called from behind me. Andrew? Voila! I screamed and pressed my back flat against the wall. Laura looked at me with a surprised expression. Damn, she just saw how lame that was. Ah, what is it, Laura? Thank you for helping me. Hearing those words helped me regain a bit of composure. That's right. Now isn't the time to dwell on my fear. I need to deal with the issue this employee is facing. This is my job, to solve problems and make this a better workplace. I know I can do it. I led Laura toward the brightly lit break room. The moment I saw her face clearly under the fluorescent light, I gasped. My goodness, she's beautiful. Andrew? Are you okay? Yeah, totally fine. So, Laura, could you tell me a little more about what's been going on? Yes. She took a deep breath and began to speak. I go to a night high school. Since I'm free during the day, I thought I'd work a part-time job. But right after I started, they kept assigning me only night shifts. I see. That must have been tough. How's the work environment? Are you getting along with everyone? Well, she hesitated for a moment, then continued in a quiet voice. I think people are calling me gloomy and antisocial behind my back. I frowned. This was worse than I'd imagined. Are there any other problems? The night shift can be pretty hard. She chose her words carefully and continued slowly. There's a lot of heavy lifting, and sometimes I don't even get a break. Her voice grew smaller as she glanced over at me. Her eyes were filled with anxiety and fear. This kind of treatment was clearly unacceptable. All right, I'll take care of it right away. By the way, what kind of work are you mainly responsible for, Laura? Mainly inventory management and stocking the shelves. Sometimes I also help out at the register. As I listened to Laura, I started to piece the situation together in my mind. forcing night shifts, harassment, labor law violations. This is serious. As she continued, I found myself curious about her approach to her work. How's the inventory management going? Are you getting the hang of it? Yes, little by little, I'm doing my best. She looked down, a bit embarrassed, and continued in a soft voice. I try to be creative where I can. Like, to make inventory checks easier, I created a designated area for items nearing their expiration date, and I've been using color codes on the stock sheets to make everything more visible at a glance. That's smart. Those kinds of improvements are really important. Good thinking. I was impressed. Even in these conditions, she was coming up with ways to improve her work. She clearly had talent. All right, Laura. First, let's review your shift schedule. We'll cut down on the late night shifts and move you to some daytime ones. In that moment, I found myself drawn into her eyes. And well, right, your inventory ideas. That's something we can. Stay calm, Andrew. You're a top-level employee. Don't lose your composure over this. I took a deep breath and turned back toward Laura. Sorry, let's get back on track. Laura, your ideas are really good. They deserve more recognition. So let's start by creating a better work environment for you. I began proposing concrete measures, adjusting her schedule, ensuring break times, and assigning tasks where she could make the most of her strengths. Laura listened intently. I could see a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Thank you, Andrew. Her smile made my heart race again. But now wasn't the time for that. The first priority was solving the problem in front of us. All right, let's start making improvements little by little starting tomorrow. I'll do everything I can to support you. Let's work on this together. Laura nodded. There was a hint of confidence on her face. The next day, I arrived at the office early. To improve Laura's situation, I first needed to talk to her manager, Ted. Okay, stay calm. Keep it logical. I knocked on the door to the manager's office. Come in. Excuse me, Ted. Ted was a rugged man in his mid-50s. His piercing gaze made me tense up without thinking. Well, Andrew, you've just come back from overseas, and already you've got business to discuss? Yes, I wanted to talk to you about the working conditions for one of our part-time staff. I began explaining Laura's situation. The issue with the night shifts, lack of break time, and her relationship with other staff. As I spoke, I could see Ted's expression gradually darken. Humph, that's all? Is going around listening to a part-timer's complaints your new job? At those words, I instinctively leaned forward. No, this isn't just a complaint. It's a clear violation of labor laws. And Laura has real talent. She's improving efficiency in inventory management, and talent don't make me laugh. Ted let out a cold, mocking chuckle, and something snapped inside me. Ted, that's prejudice. Laura's ideas are already making things run more smoothly on the floor. If we apply her methods more broadly, we could. Enough! His sudden shout made me take a step back. You've been overseas for 12 years. What makes you think you understand anything, you punk? But Ted, times are changing. We need to change too. That's enough. I get what you're trying to say. But we have our own way of doing things. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. I clenched my teeth in frustration. This wasn't how I thought it would go. I believed that if I laid things out logically, he would understand. But Ted, if we leave it like this, I'm done listening. Get out. Reluctantly, I left the manager's office. Out in the hallway, I saw Laura standing there. Andrew, I heard everything. Oh, Laura. I'm sorry you got yelled at because of me. No, this is my job. You didn't do anything wrong. Tears welled up in Laura's eyes. Without thinking, I placed a hand on her shoulder. It's all right. I'm not giving up. I'll fix this, I promise. But trust me, you really do have talent. Let's figure out a way to prove it. Laura slowly looked up at me. Her eyes were filled with both fear and hope. This first attempt had hit a wall much harder than I expected. But I wasn't backing down. If anything, this setback had only strengthened my resolve. All right, let's change tactics. Instead of going top down, we'll go bottom up. Bottom up? Yeah. Let's start on the ground floor, prove your talent through results. That way, no one can deny it. Laura's expression brightened just a little. I smiled. Laura, we'll find a way forward. I promise. At my words, Laura gave a small but determined nod. A few days passed. Laura and I had been quietly working on improving inventory management based on her ideas. If we change this part here, I think it could make things run even more smoothly. Oh yes, that makes sense. But what if we tried it this way? Laura offered her suggestion, still a little hesitant. At first, she had been unsure of herself, but little by little, she had begun to speak with more confidence. I found myself watching her profile. The serious expression she wore as she worked made my heart beat faster. Andrew? Huh? Oh, sorry. I spaced out for a second. I quickly looked away, flustered. That evening, a minor incident occurred in the store. A customer was furious about a missing item. What do you mean it's not here? Restock your shelves properly. A young part-time employee stood there, clearly overwhelmed. At that moment, Laura stepped in. I'm terribly sorry. I'll go check the stock right away. What can someone as gloomy looking as you even do? I instinctively moved to intervene. But Laura stayed calm and continued handling the situation. Please wait just a moment. She quickly headed to the back room and returned a few minutes later. I deeply apologize. The item was in the wrong location. Here's what you were looking for. The customer looked surprised as he took the product. What? You found it that fast? Yes, I've been reorganizing the layout recently to make items easier to locate. She began explaining confidently. From a short distance away, I watched her with pride. After the customer left, several staff members gathered around Laura. That was amazing, Laura. I can't believe how well you handled that difficult customer. Wait, are you the one who came up with that new product layout? Laura nodded, slightly flustered but clearly happy. Yes. But Andrew helped me a lot with it. She pointed over toward me. I gave a shy wave in response. From that day on, the staff's attitude toward Laura began to change. They started asking for her input and speaking to her with smiles. One day, when we were alone together in the break room, Andrew, thank you so much. For what? For believing in me and supporting me. Her face overflowed with gratitude. I suddenly found myself at a loss for words. Well, At that moment, the break room door opened. Well now, am I interrupting something? We both quickly looked away. Andrew, do you have a moment? I gave Laura a small nod to reassure her and followed Ted. The way you two are doing things, it's interesting. What? Inventory's more efficient. Staff morale seems to be improving too. I couldn't hide my surprise. I never imagined Ted would actually acknowledge our work. Well, I suppose there's value in the energy of younger employees. Keep it up. Yes, thank you very much. Unable to contain my excitement, I rushed back to Laura. Laura, we did it. Huh? Did what? I eagerly told her about my conversation with Ted. Her face lit up like a flower blooming. One day, a management meeting was scheduled. The agenda, operational reform and efficiency. Our efforts were going to be discussed as part of the meeting. Even though Ted's attitude had changed, changing the company's deeply rooted culture was no easy task. The moment I entered the meeting room, a tense atmosphere filled the space. Ted and the other executives sat with stern expressions. All right, this is it. I took a deep breath and began preparing my presentation. Now, I'd like to present our new operational improvement proposal. Pointing to the charts projected on the screen, I walked them through the presentation. I explained Laura's approach to product management and showed data on the improved efficiency it had brought. But midway through, Thomas, one of the directors, interrupted. A method thought up by a part-timer? That's not something this company should rely on. Are you sure this is safe? With all due respect, the data shows actual results. If you'll look at this. Data, huh? What matters more is years of experience, not some numbers. The discussion started to heat up. Then, suddenly, the room went completely dark. Whoa! I couldn't help but shout. Voices murmured in the darkness. Everyone stay calm. I'm sure the power will be back soon. This is bad. At a time like this, I struggled to stay composed. Just then, my phone lit up. It was a message from Laura. Andrew, are you all right? If you use your phone's flashlight, it should help brighten the room a bit. I quickly turned on my light and asked the others to do the same. Small beams of light began to flicker around the room. I apologize for the situation, but if it's all right, I'd like to continue the explanation from memory. Yes, go ahead. In a calm voice, I resumed. I had memorized the figures and charts and explained everything clearly. Well, you certainly seem to understand this proposal in detail. Yes, I've been heavily involved in this improvement plan myself, and I've seen the benefits firsthand. Still, it's a part-timer's idea. Can we really apply that across the entire company? Thomas, it's true that the idea began with Laura, a part-timer. But we, the full-time staff, reviewed it, refined it, and developed it further. This is no longer just a part-time suggestion, it's a proposal that can shape the future of our company. Andrew's right. Thomas, why don't we at least hear him out to the end? Thomas nodded begrudgingly. I took another deep breath and continued the presentation. I carefully walked them through the proposal, using specific examples and numbers. The managers who had seemed skeptical earlier now listened quietly, drawn in by my sincere tone. About 10 minutes later, the power came back on. But the atmosphere had completely changed. After the meeting ended, several managers gathered around me. That was an excellent presentation. Your passion really came through. Well, maybe the younger generation does have something to offer. Their words brought a wave of relief over me. As I stepped out of the conference room, a message from Laura popped up on my phone. How did the meeting go? It went well, thanks to your advice. Really? That's great to hear. Thank you, truly. From that day on, the atmosphere in the office began to shift. People started listening more to the younger staff, and there was a growing willingness to embrace new ideas. One day, I was called in by Ted. Andrew, thanks to your proposal, our operations are starting to evolve. It's only because everyone was willing to give it a chance. Actually, there's something you should know. Other branches have taken notice of what you're doing. Some are even talking about rolling it out company-wide. What? Seriously? Yes, but there will be challenges. The older, more rigid branches may push back hard. You might be facing even tougher resistance moving forward. I felt a renewed sense of responsibility. I understand. I'll do everything I can. I'm counting on you. And Laura's contribution was a big part of this too. Her performance hasn't gone unnoticed. Yes, it's all thanks to her hard work. Keep working with her and keep pushing forward with these reforms. Understood. I'll give it everything I've got. As the conversation ended, I felt a firm sense of resolve settle in my chest. The path ahead would be full of new challenges, but I was ready. Several months had passed since then, and Laura's night shifts had been drastically reduced. But tonight, due to a staffing shortage, she had to work an overnight shift for the first time in a while. It was just past 11 p.m., and I was getting ready to head home. That's when a sudden report came in. Andrew, something terrible's happened. There's been an accident in the warehouse. I froze in place. What did you say? A shelf collapsed. Laura is trapped underneath. In that instant, my mind went blank. A dark warehouse. An accident. Laura in danger. It was the worst possible combination. I have to go. But that warehouse, that darkness, my legs began to tremble. But then Laura's face flashed in my mind. Damn it, I'm going. I forced my shaking legs to move and ran toward the warehouse. When I opened the door, it was like stepping into a void. Ugh, whoa. The darkness threatened to swallow me whole. But then, from deep inside, I heard a faint voice. One. That's Laura. Using only the flashlight in my hand, I slowly and cautiously made my way forward. There are no ghosts. There are no ghosts. Wait, did something just move? Terrified by imaginary spirits, I pushed forward with all my might. Finally, when I spotted the collapsed shelf, I couldn't help but cry out. Laura, are you okay? Andrew, I'm over here. Her weak voice came from behind the fallen shelf. Hang in there. I'm coming. Don't move, okay? Okay. But Andrew, calm down. First, please check your surroundings. Her steady voice snapped me back to reality. Right. You're right. I swept the flashlight around, carefully examining the area. Without realizing it, I started whistling from the tension. In that moment, Laura's body trembled slightly. Ah! I thought I heard her whisper something under her breath, too quiet to make out. Okay, I think I can lift it. Laura, when I raised the shelf, tried to crawl out all right? Yes. Her voice betrayed her anxiety. Unaware, I grabbed the shelf. Here goes. With every ounce of strength, I tried to lift it, but it was heavier than expected. Damn it, just a little more. Oh wait, I spotted a nearby cart and quickly shoved it underneath the shelf. Laura, can you hear me? I've slid a cart under the shelf. I'm going to tilt it little by little, crawl out when you see an opening. Okay. Laura swiftly crawled out. The moment she emerged, I grinned without even thinking. Seeing that smile, Laura's heart skipped a beat. There's no doubt. He's the one from back then. Yes. Relieved, I let go, and the shelf dropped with a heavy thud. But Laura was already safe. Thank you, Andrew. No, it was thanks to you staying calm. I was the one freaking out over ghosts. Wait, ghosts? No, forget I said anything. The two of us burst into laughter. The tension finally melted away. Before long, the paramedics arrived, and Laura was taken to the hospital just to be safe. Luckily, she hadn't suffered any serious injuries. Later, a meeting was held to investigate the cause of the accident and discuss safety measures. Andrew, Laura, thanks to your calm response, things didn't get worse. But the fact that this happened at all shows there's a problem in our oversight. Yes, we need to review night shift staffing and equipment inspection procedures. You're right. Seems like hearing from younger staff like you might be worthwhile after all. At those words, the mood in the room shifted. The stiff expressions of the older employees began to soften. Finally, people's attitudes are starting to change. After the meeting, Laura walked up to me. Andrew, thank you so much. No, it's me who should be thanking you. The words caught in my throat. Laura's eyes sparkled slightly. Andrew, you're really good at whistling, aren't you? Huh? Oh yeah, I tend to do it unconsciously when I'm nervous. It's a habit I've had for years. I see. A faint blush appeared on Laura's cheeks. I tilted my head slightly, puzzled, but she didn't seem bothered. I look forward to working with you more from now on. Yeah, definitely. We shook hands firmly. In that moment, something deep inside Laura connected the past with the present. A few days after the accident, I found Laura sitting alone in the break room. She looked like she was deep in thought. Oh, Laura, you're still here? Oh, Andrew. Is something wrong? You seem a little lost in thought. After a brief moment of hesitation, she looked at me with a resolved expression. There was a light in her eyes, as if she had something important to say. Andrew, actually, I remembered something from the past. From the past? Yes, from 12 years ago when I got lost in this supermarket. What? The moment I heard those words, something inside me clicked. 12 years ago, now that she mentioned it. There was a kind older boy who helped me that day. I gasped. It couldn't be. That little girl back then. No way. Yes, it was you, Andrew. A heavy silence settled between us. And in that silence, the memory from 12 years ago came back with perfect clarity. It must have been during my second year at the company. Back then, I was still a junior employee, taking on all kinds of tasks. That day, I was assigned to inventory work. While I was working in the warehouse, I heard faint sobbing. Is someone there? Don't tell me. A ghost. Clutching my flashlight with a trembling hand, I cautiously moved toward the sound. My heart pounded, and cold sweat trickled down my back. Stay calm. There's no such thing as ghosts. Then the flashlight beam caught something, and I let out a loud, "Whoa!" But what I found wasn't a ghost, it was a small girl curled up and sitting on the floor. Thank God, not a ghost. I let out a sigh of relief and gently spoke to the girl in a shaky voice. Are you okay? Did you get lost? She nodded slightly, clearly frightened. What do I do? I've never been good with kids. Even so, I knelt down and spoke gently. It's okay. There's nothing to be scared of. Let's go find your mom together. I took her small hand in mine and slowly led her out of the warehouse. Tense from the situation, I had started whistling unconsciously. What's your name? Laura. My name is Laura. Laura, huh? That's a lovely name. At that moment, Laura gave a tiny smile. Seeing that smile, I felt my own tension ease just a little. So, you were the little girl from back then. Yes, ever since that day, I've dreamed of working here. I was speechless, staring at Laura. That little girl had grown into such a strong, capable young woman. My encounter with you, Andrew, it helped me start looking forward, little by little. That experience. How should I put it? It became something really important to me. I had no idea. Yes, that's why I'm really happy to be working here now. Laura looked up at me, a little shy, carefully choosing her words. So, from now on, I hope we can. Seeing Laura struggle to find the words, I slowly stepped closer and gently placed my hand on her head. Laura, you've already become someone truly remarkable. Honestly, I'm the one who's been helped by you. You were the reason I could push forward, even though I was scared. Even in that warehouse, it was your calm thinking that saved the day. I saw tears begin to well up in her eyes. And your ideas have made a real difference here. You're amazing, Laura. No, I'm really not. You are. Since you joined, this workplace has changed. Even the way people talk and think it's becoming more open, more positive. Andrew, let's keep working together, all right? Yes. We exchanged warm smiles. A bond that had been quietly forming over 12 years had finally come full circle. Though she still carried the innocence of the little girl from back then, Laura was now a vital part of our team. And that smile, it made my heart skip a beat. What is this feeling? When I was with her, I felt at ease. And at the same time, I felt something else, something quietly, deeply exciting. Andrew, is something wrong? No, it's nothing. I quickly averted my eyes, flustered. All right, time to keep moving forward, for Laura's sake and my own. With that silent vow, I left the break room beside her. Months passed since that day, and the workplace had changed dramatically. Laura's improvements to operations exceeded expectations, even influencing other departments. As I walked through the store, I often caught glimpses of her focused, full of life, and completely in her element. She was no longer just a part-time worker. She had become indispensable. Other staff sought her advice often and clearly looked up to her. Laura, you've grown so much. But alongside that admiration, another feeling had begun to grow inside me. At first, I was confused by the feelings I had that went beyond those of a supervisor, but the more time I spent with her, the harder it became to deny them. Is this wrong? After much hesitation, I finally made up my mind to speak to her. I waited for the right moment, watching as she stepped out of the break room. Hey, Laura. Yes. What is it? Well, on our next day off, if you're free, would you maybe like to have dinner with me? The moment I finished speaking, I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Huh? Laura looked surprised for an instant, but then her expression softened into a warm smile. Yes, I'd love to. That day, I waited nervously at the meeting spot we had agreed on. When Laura appeared, I was completely taken aback. Wow, she's beautiful. Gone was her usual plain work uniform. Laura arrived in a stylish, casual outfit. Her understated makeup and simple accessories gave her an elegant charm. She was drawing the attention of nearly every man around. Hey, hope I didn't keep you waiting. No, I just got here too. Still a bit tense, we made our way to a nearby restaurant. Over dinner, we chatted about work and shared stories from the past. As I watched Laura smile, my nerves slowly began to melt away. Andrew, there's something I want to tell you. Hmm? What is it? Actually, just then, a commotion erupted at the table next to us, cutting her off mid-sentence. Huh? What were you about to say? Frustrated, I looked at Laura, hoping for an answer, but she blushed and lowered her gaze. In the end, we weren't able to clearly express our feelings that day, but as we were about to part ways, I gathered my courage and gently took her hand. Let's go on another date sometime. Laura gave a small nod and smiled, squeezing my hand in return. The next day at work, something felt off. Oh hey, Andrew. Had a nice time yesterday. Youth is a wonderful thing, but careful with office romance, all right? As I scrambled to explain, everyone simply smiled and watched with warm amusement. Apparently, our date was no longer a secret. Later that night, just as I was finishing a late shift, Laura came up to me. She'd just finished her shift too. Near the employee exit, she stood quietly, looking a little nervous. You did great today. Thanks for all your hard work. Thank you. Andrew, do you have a moment? Of course. Even though it was late at night, the store was still bustling with customers. To avoid being seen, we slipped away to a small break area behind the store, meant for employees only. In the stillness of the night, Laura's voice echoed softly. Andrew, please let me say it properly this time. Hum? Oh, okay. I like you. I've liked you since the day you helped me. All those years ago. Ah, I see. Wait, hold on. What did you just say? I panicked, raising my voice so loud a few nearby customers turned to look. My face burned red, and I felt like steam might shoot out of my ears. Can I ask you again? Looking a bit unsure, but smiling sweetly, Laura repeated herself. I. I like you, Andrew. Whoa! I instinctively clutched my head and crouched down. People nearby stared at me like I was completely out of my mind, but I didn't care anymore. Calm down. This isn't a dream. This is really happening. I took several deep breaths. Finally regaining my composure, I looked at Laura with a serious expression. Listen, I like you too, Laura. Now it was her turn to look completely stunned. Would you go out with me? Yes. We looked at each other and smiled. In that moment, applause and cheers erupted around us. Before I even realized it, customers and staff had gathered, surrounding us in celebration. Oh man, they all saw that, didn't they? I scratched my head, embarrassed, while Laura smiled blissfully by my side. It had unintentionally become a public confession, but somehow it felt right, as if everyone was celebrating the beginning of something new for us. Half a year has passed since then, and my relationship with Laura has grown stronger with each day. She was officially hired as a full-time employee and had begun to shine even brighter in her role. As I walked through the store, I heard her cheerful voice ring out. These strawberries are really fresh. Now's the perfect time to enjoy them. I couldn't help but smile. The gloomy atmosphere from before had completely vanished, and now Laura was one of the store's most beloved figures. One day we held a Halloween event in the store. What? I have to wear a costume too. I reluctantly agreed, though inside I was sweating bullets. When the day arrived, I was nervously adjusting my skeleton costume with trembling hands. Then Laura showed up in full zombie makeup. Andrew, don't be scared, okay? It's fine. I'm not age. I screamed as Thomas suddenly appeared behind me in a full Dracula costume. Laughter broke out all around us, but Laura quietly reached out and took my hand. I'm right here with you, Andrew. Her words calmed me in a way I couldn't explain. I held her hand firmly in return. I was still just as afraid of ghosts as ever, but as long as I was with Laura, I felt like I could overcome anything. In the end, maybe the scariest thing isn't ghosts, it's the thought of losing her. Realizing that, I squeezed her hand even tighter. She looked up at me, surprised, then smiled gently. There would still be scary moments ahead, but as long as I held onto this hand, I knew we would be all right.